billing of being the first overall pick in the draft, but by and large, good, solid defensive tackle.
3rd down and 9. Banks from the shotgun, rolling and throwing. Oh, incomplete. Almost deflected into the secondary. Travis Taylor trying the one-handed grab. Champ Bailey was right there.
And it is always a work in progress getting Tony Banks to work on his fundamentals. This is a tough pattern for Tony to find when he's rolling to his left. And you can see when he plants and throws, the ball comes in way behind Travis Taylor. Sets up, then does the rollout, but this is tough to get your feet set. And you see, look how awkward Tony Banks was in the release of that football. That's way behind Taylor.
Richardson kicking toward Thrash and kicks it well out of bounds. And we'll see just where they mark that ball. It's going to be out close to the 20-yard line. Timeout, 8:27 left in the quarter. Redskins are moving toward the midpoint of this opening quarter. Get online, see what Pete Carroll has to say in his NFL.com game analysis piece. It's only on NFL.com. Well, Richardson trying to kick to the sidelines, and it went out at the 25, only a 30-yard punt. Johnson hands off, and Davis has crunched a yard shy of the line of scrimmage as Lionel Dalton, for the injured Sam Adams, makes the play. Here's the defensive setup. Burnett. Adams is replaced by Lionel Dalton from Eastern Michigan, Siragusa and McCrary. Peter Boulware, 2-time Pro Bowler. Ray Lewis has led his team in tackles 5 years, and Jamie Sharper at the backers. Starks and McAllister, Rod Woodson and Kim Herring at safety. 2nd and 11 for Brad Johnson. To the outside, complete, and Thrash hit immediately by Dwayne Starks at that left corner.
Hit immediately, but he didn't go down. James Thrash showing me a little something there. He catches this ball, and I don't think he ever gets his head upfield before he's cracked. Oh, he did. He caught him at the last second. He got his head around, but what a great job of staying on his feet by James Thrash. That's meeting him high, but yet Thrash showing some real physical strength. Takes 3 Baltimore Ravens to get him on the ground.
Yeah, Sharper had to come over and help wrestle him down. He's from Missouri Southern, James Thrash. 3rd down and 7 for Johnson. Underneath he goes. Incomplete. Intended for Andre Reed, another great veteran that has migrated out of Buffalo. Looking for a touchdown that would give him 88 in his career and tie Don Maynard, number 5 all time, but not to be, and Washington will have to punt again.
Well, Washington was forced to pick up Andre Reed after he was released by Denver when they lost Michael Westbrook, their leading receiver. They lost him in the 2nd week to a knee injury. So Washington, their depth certainly being tested so far in the early part of the season.
Punt by Barnhart toward Jermaine Lewis at the Baltimore 26. 35, and steps out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 45-yard punt, 11 on the return. There's no score. Theater FedEx Field.
Work for Brian.
Deion Sanders back in. Sharp and Coates double tight end. There's over 1,000 catches between those 2 Raven tight ends. Jamal Lewis. And the rookie gets maybe a yard. Bruce Smith down near the bottom of the pile. Smith in his 16th season. He's 2 years older than the owner of the Redskins, Daniel Snyder, about whom he talked in high praise. He said, I've had more good close contact with the owner in 6 months here than I had in all my years in Buffalo.
Well, the players will always appreciate an owner that's willing to spend money to bring in good players. There are players who play for franchises in this league that don't think that.
2nd and 10. Bang! So is he hit. It's an incomplete pass as Smith. Oh, that's the Bruce Smith that's been ravaging offensive lines and quarterbacks for his 16 seasons in the league.
Well, he starts upfield and then comes back to the inside against Jonathan Ogden. Here's that patented spin by Bruce Smith, and Ogden with a bum right ankle. And that's where it's tough to defend a guy making the inside move. Let's not kid ourselves. Bruce Smith knows where Ogden's weakness is. It's got to be to his inside. And if Ogden can't push off that ankle, that's not the last time he's going to see Bruce Smith try to cross his face.
So Banks shotgun 3rd and 10 as the Redskins show an all-out blitz. He steps up and goes wide open, but incomplete is Jermaine Lewis. He let him out of bounds. Lewis had 5 yards on the deep secondary of the Redskins. He had beaten Darrell Green.
And Darrell Green fell down. And there's Darrell Green now looking at his lower right leg. Let's look to the right of our screen. And what's really important here is Darrell Green, because he actually falls and goes to the turf. You can right there, you can see he falls right at the 40-yard line and grabbing at his lower right leg. Well, this is an easy touchdown, and Tony Banks, no ball out of bounds, can end up in the end zone.
And Green has helped off, favoring totally that right leg, as Kyle Richardson to kick it to James Thrash of the Redskins, who stands at the 19. Fair catch at the 15. And covered well after a 4-yard return. Corey Harris, one of the top Ravens special teamers, with a stop. Friday on CBS, catch the #1 new show of the season. Experience a sign I've ever met.
But now a serious question at corner for the Skins.
Davis wrapped up by Jamie Sharper, a couple-yard loss, and that's that stingy Raven defense. Yesterday, in talking with Darrell Green and about his late father, his father passed in July, and he was grieved for 11 days, stayed in Texas, didn't know if he'd play, and he said he thought, and people said, are you going to wear something to honor your father in your uniform? He said, I didn't play for my father, I lived for my father.
Well, a mature statement from, when you talk to him, a very mature man. It's interesting that Darrell Green has played so long.
Underneath the centers, the leading receiver, Larry Centers, has a short yardage on that catch of a Brad Johnson pass.
Dick, he's played so long that he's gone from a contemporary of the guys in the locker room to now the grandfather and the uncle. And he says, you know what, I've reached a point where it doesn't bother me. What will bother the Redskins is if Darrell can't play anymore today. Because with Deion Sanders already nursing a sore lower back, they're taking him off the punt returns. Thrash is handling that duty today. This is going to leave them vulnerable. Now, can Baltimore, do they have a good enough passing attack to take advantage of a wounded Redskins secondary?
3rd down and 7 for Johnson to the far side and complete the Thrash, and the first down, the first of the game for the Redskins out at the 33-yard line. Rod Woodson, the veteran All-Pro, with the stop.
Taking a look at the far sideline, just a really 5-yard out. Initially, it looks like Woodson's going to make a break on the football. You see that first step was upfield. I think he thought he had a chance to step in front of that Brad Johnson throw. Then we decided he couldn't. He had to concede the reception and just get Thrash out of bounds. Rod Woodson will go for the ball if he has a chance. Thus his 57 career interceptions.
The leader of those active in the league currently. Here's the reverse to Thrash, and he's got a blocker. But it's Johnson, and Johnson isn't able to handle the thrust of Cornell Brown and others of the Baltimore Ravens. Dwayne Starks also in on the tackle, and it's short of the first down.
I know Brad Johnson is a big guy at 6'5", 225, but this is really not where head coaches want their quarterbacks to be. This is really a favorite play of the Redskins, with Thrash running a reverse. They opened up their game last week against Philadelphia with the same play going the other direction. Thrash is, he's got a 13-yard per carry average. Maybe that's not a bad block by Brad Johnson. It's really not. It's just he was so far out in front. When he's trying to block Starks, he just couldn't hold it that long.
7 yards on the play. Johnson pumps and goes long. Albert Connell, the intended target. Starks was there battling with him along the sidelines. So 3rd down and 3. Connell, who had some difficulties last week in Philadelphia, became irate when he wasn't receiving enough action in the first half, came off the field, said something to Coach Turner, and Turner then handed him off to Terry Robisky. There's Robisky saying, calm down, young man. It's all been, he was fine, smoothed over, and Connell, to his credit, came back and had a big second half.
Well, North Turner said, I had to find Albert. I really didn't want to, but I fined him because I had to, and I told him if it happens again, that I'll suspend him for a game. But you know something, Dick? I've seen a lot worse. No punchy throw. Well, the Redskins do complete that pass to Alexander. Herring comes up and makes the tackle. Stephen Alexander, North Turner told us he thinks is going to have a good day working underneath in that intermediate range, that 7 to 10 yard pattern. Alexander now in his 3rd year out of Oklahoma, and again, when you're working against defenses of caliber of both Baltimore and Washington, the tight end has to have a big day. Thus, I think Alexander and Sharp are 2 key figures in today's game.
So first down from the 46-yard line. Johnson fires incomplete. Connell going up like an outfielder to try to spear that one, and Chris McAllister, the defender for Baltimore.
This was a great effort by Albert Connell going up after a bad throw by Brad Johnson. Look how far that ball is up in the air. Albert's showing some real leaping ability. That'll make a few highlight reels. I can see NFL films setting that to slow motion and some kind of music. What an effort by Connell.
So 2nd and 10 for the Redskins. The scoreless first quarter in Landover, Maryland. 2 minutes plus remaining opening quarter. Johnson, the quick throw, complete to centers. The fullback tackled immediately at the Washington 49 by Ray Lewis. Lewis, who has led the Ravens in tackles his previous 4 years after being picked in the 1st round out of Miami, and he leads again this season. Of course, the tragedy, murder trial, acquitted, the double murder after the Super Bowl this past year, but was acquitted, guilty of obstruction of justice, so his life this season is on probation. And Shannon Sharp has been a tremendous ally, a new acquisition, has really taken Lewis under his wing, trying to monitor his action and help him along. The pass incomplete, and no flag as Chris McAllister able to jump in front of Connell, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Boy, this is fun watching these 2 defensive teams go at one another. That is just a beautiful play by McAllister, and really to Connell, what he does is really distract him more than anything else. He really didn't touch him or the football in his going around in front of it. I think once the crowd saw that replay, they quieted down.
Jermaine Lewis deep. Barnhart's punt. Lewis fair catch at about the 11-yard line. The Ravens now they're deepest in their own in this first quarter on the 35-yard punt. Tuesday on CBS, a refugee once per near 80 degrees, very little breeze, low humidity. It's been like that most of the week. Indian summer day.
Chamber of Commerce Day.
And a huge crowd, sold out as always, 85,000 at FedEx Field. No score as the Ravens Banks will throw on first down to the sideline, and wide open is the missile, Kadri Ismail, and his first catch in front of Deion Sanders. But it's not going to count. They're going to call apparently Ismail for a push-off.
Well, Kadri ended up being about 5 yards away from Deion Sanders. I think Tom White just told us why. Not used to seeing Deion that far from a receiver on his side of the field. Yeah, granted, he's not the Deion Sanders of 5 or 6 years ago.
Pass interference. Number 87. Offense. That's half the distance to the goal. Remains. First down.
Well, as he is most of the time, just locked up one-on-one. And that's the fact of the matter is, folks, is that Deion Sanders has a right to his position. And Ismail cannot just run into him and push him away like that.
The penalty half the distance to the goal line. And the Ravens are now inside the 5-yard line. What did Sanders say? He said, you know, they're starting to criticize me that I don't have technique. He said, I might admit that I'm not quite the Sanders I was 7 years ago, but I think it's a compliment that they're trying to find something wrong with my game.
It's hard to rattle Dion. His cup runneth over with confidence.
Ball right on the 5. Banks from his goal line and whistle, and that usually means an offensive lineman jumped the gun. Word now on Darrell Green, we understand, is coming through as to his injury. We'll go down to Bonnie. I'm sure she has all the details. As we check Tom White.
Well, 3 previous possessions, Baltimore had excellent field position and wasn't able to do anything with it. Now the first time they're being tested in bad field position, and they are struggling. I think Tom owes us an explanation here of something.
Darrell Green, we understand strained calf is the injury.
We've got the players lined up all across the field ready to run a play, and Tom White is having a conference. What's up, Tom?
Coaches and players frustrated by the delay, and no word at all. Apparently a clock problem or an inadvertent whistle. No penalty.
Well, we're left to guess.
Neither team able to generate much of an offense here in the opening quarter. Banks from his end zone. Deflected and almost caught.
That'll be interference against the Redskins.
But the ball was deflected. So we'll see.
If the ball's tipped, but I don't think there's any question. I think Terrell did some grabbing downfield. You're right. If the ball's tipped, that'll negate it, and the Redskins will get lucky. But David Terrell certainly did a good hook job downfield.
Defensive pass interference. The ball was tipped prior to the contact. It's an incomplete pass. Second down.
Yeah, that's where you chalk it up to luck, because David Terrell doesn't know that this ball is deflected. There it is, deflected right there. I think Derek Smith gets it. The holding came well before what you just saw there, that last tap. Good job, though. Lost in that a little bit is Derek Smith, who really elevated to tip that ball.
Third down. Check that 2nd and 16 from the 5-yard line, and Banks throws. Oh, was that dangerous? Deflected, and LeVar Arrington almost able to pick it off, but it's going to be a personal foul against the Redskins, roughing the passer, and now it's Baltimore that gets a huge break from their 5-yard line. First down with the penalty.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer, number 72. A late hit, 15 yards. First down.
Andy Kalou, the 4th-year defender from Rice.
Well, he wears number 72, reminiscent of Dexter Manley. He'll come in from right up the middle. Oh, and he hits Tony Banks right in the face mask with the top of his helmet.
And with about a 2.5 stride.
Yeah. You can't walk over to your coach and say, what did I do wrong? That's going to get flagged every time and probably fined.
Priest Holmes for a yard or 2 to the 21. Derek Smith and Marco Coleman collaborate on the stop. Holmes, who is just 20 yards behind Jamal Lewis in rushing. He has 325. Lewis 345. A 1-2 punch for the Ravens. And they're averaging right about that 4.5 per rush, while allowing only 2.4 per rush. Best in the league defensively. And Sam Gash gets a rare call. Gash, who has not carried the ball all season until that pitch, and Bruce Smith not fooled a bit. Check that, Priest Holmes, the ball carry. And so it has been this first half. Washington got to their own 49, and Baltimore got to the Washington 49. Very evenly played. Third down and 9. First play, second quarter, and ball start would appear the call here.
Well, Dion all the way outside was across the line from Kadri Ismail, and Dion with the little Neil Smith flinch move got Ismail to move. That's not supposed to be legal.
Delay a game. Defense jumping in the neutral zone, attempting to cause a false start on the offense.
That's exactly what it was.
5-yard penalty.
That's exactly what it was. Remember Neil Smith when he played with it? Look at it all the way down the right. You see that right there by Dion? That was an intentional move on his part to try to get Ismail to jump.
See, he pointed right away as soon as he got
and
the
then
movement.
he points out Ismail. A couple of years ago, a new rule was passed saying that is now an infraction against the defense. Dion trying to be cute. Got caught.
Ravens now looking for a touchdown. They won their last 2 games all on matched over field goals. Banks hit immediately is Jermaine Lewis, and that'll be short of the first down by a couple of yards at the 28. Mark Carrier with a good solid open field tackle.
And I think you really start to get a feel for this game when it's only 3rd and 4 and you see them running a 1 or 2 yard pattern, how conservative the play calling is on the part of Brian Billick as far as not wanting Tony Banks to make a mistake against this very veteran defensive unit of the Redskins. The confidence that Brian Billick has in his defensive team is, well, it's sometimes you look at it, it's justified because of how well they play, but he just doesn't want Tony Banks to lose the game.
Richardson hits a beauty, chasing Thrash back inside his 20. Good move by Thrash, and a solid return out to the 36-yard line. 55 on the punt, 18 on the Thrash return, and with that a timeout. It's scoreless. And welcome back as this rivalry is so close and competitive, especially the fans almost more than players. Second city syndrome suffered by Baltimore to their friends to the south. Washington. Brad Johnson on the screen, and it's the skip Hicks, and Hicks on his first duty of the day picks up about 3 yards. No score here. Let's go to New York in this report from Jim Nantz.
If you're planning to get some sleep before the end of our broadcast and wish to video our game, set your VCRs to record the repeat that will go out Monday, 11 a.m., Sky Sports 3. That way, if we have to switch channels to Sky Sports 1 tonight, you won't miss the remainder of the game.
I'll tell you what, Jim, and I'll tell you, Dick, Mike Riley's going to have a hard time explaining away his decision. No matter how well my quarterbacks play, I'm making a change at the quarter. That just blew up in his face.
Ball at the 41, the Redskins, and it's Hicks into the teeth of that very difficult Ravens defense. A little game. Bonnie?
All right, Dick, we have the final word on Darrell Green. The 17-year veteran quarterback from the Redskins has suffered a strained right calf, and he's out for the rest of the game.
Green, another on the growing list of wounded for the Redskins. It's been a very busy year in that Washington training room.
Well, and at 40 years old, let's not kid ourselves. You don't heal as quickly as you did with your kids.
Rash on the receiving end of the Johnson pass, and it's enough for a first down out to the 48-yard line. Starks makes the tackle. Boy, Thrash has been busy, hasn't he?
Well, he is. And that was he got this thing started with an outstanding punt return up the far sideline. But James Thrash, he's the best blocker of their wide receivers. And at 200 pounds, he showed us he's a pretty physical guy. Taking some big hits, and he doesn't go backwards.
Now first down, Washington. Scoreless early second quarter. Mike Sellers, the fullback, leading Davis. And Stephen Davis, his first substantial gain. He was held without a yard in 3 carries, and he's to the 48 of Baltimore, first time in Raven territory.
Well, a real staple of the Redskin running game. Stephen Davis following his off guard up through the hole. Left over from Joe Gibbs. It's just power football. And you talk to any defensive player in the league, they always say Stephen Davis, north and south. And he normally has more than a 1 yard per carry average.
Some of those yards taken away as he's stuffed back at the 50-yard line. A loss of 2 as Ray Lewis and Jamie Sharper are there for the Ravens.
Dick, this might be the point where the Redskins back in their huddle are going, well, you know, these guys are pretty good. They're not exactly stuffing the ball down the throat of this Baltimore defense on the ground. Marvin Lewis has just a tremendous, best in the league, and right now they're showing that to the Redskins. There's Marvin, who works the defensive coordinator's job from the sidelines.
And on 3rd and longer than 7, the Redskins have only 18%. Throw over the middle, complete the centers, ran right by Lewis. First down and more, 40, and all the way to the 37-yard line. Good move by the veteran fullback Larry Centers.
Well, this is no unusual sight for anybody who's been watching the National Football League for the last 11 years. Larry Centers coming out of the backfield, and he catches Marvin Lewis, just guessing which way Centers is going to go. Lewis recovers and gets back in after it's a 10-yard pickup by Centers. Well, that's a tough spot for Ray Lewis to be in.
It's the 30th catch of the season for Centers, leading the Redskins. Johnson looking long this time and finds Thrash. And James Thrash first down at the 18-yard line. You can see why Norv Turner likes this young man.
Working against the Baltimore zone, bringing up his pattern short, and James Thrash really emerging, really getting his first opportunity. Keep in mind, this is a guy that started the year as the 4th receiver on this Redskin receiving corps, but because of Irving Fryer being out for a couple of weeks, because of Westbrook being gone, he's getting his chance and making the most of it.
4th catch today, first down. Davis, 15, and a flag flies as Lewis makes the tackle at the 13-yard line. Tripping was the signal given by White, a rare penalty call.
Tripping, number 51, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Center Mark Fisher.
Well, Mark Fisher right in the middle of our screen. You see he goes over, he overextends himself, comes back. That's an old-fashioned leg whip. That's what we used to call it 25 years ago. We used to see lines do that with a lot of consistency, Dick. Now they call it tripping. It used to be an offensive lineman's favorite tool.
Not you. You would never do that, did you?
I did that so many times I lost track.
You still have the bruises.
Oh. Sometimes you catch a guy right in the calf, and man, would it hurt.
Johnson retreating all the way to his 44-yard line. That appeared to be a broken play. Johnson back, no one to throw to, and Rob Burnett records another sack, and the 33-year-old Burnett.
I think Burnett almost had his jersey ripped off by somebody. Somebody tries to grab right there. Take a look. Right there, John Jansen grabs Burnett's jersey. Doesn't get it, and Brad Johnson nowhere to go. Boy, that might be the ultimate coverage sack there with the secondary of the Ravens smothering everybody.
Burnett leading his team now with 5.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. He's the 33-year-old Dean. They call him the Dalai Lama, his teammates. 2nd and 33. Down the middle. Thrash again, and James Thrash with a big gain inside the 20-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 10. 24 more for this budding wide receiver.
Well, not much is happening on the ground for the Redskins, but they are finding some seams in the zone defense. And James Thrash, a ball high into the inside. Ooh, talk about concentration going up after that. Normally in that position, you take a big shot. That time, everybody from Baltimore missed it.
Rod Woodson trying to zero in number 26 from his safety position. That's 5 catches, 56 yards for Thrash. 3rd down and 10. He gets the Redskins back in field goal range as Johnson pumps and goes to the end zone. Incomplete. Albert Connell, the intended receiver. Dwayne Starks on the coverage.
Oh, and Brad Johnson, I know he lit up when he saw this. Baltimore came on the blitz. That means he's going to have man coverage. Look at the blitz coming from the inside. Robert Bailey comes. He knows he's got man coverage on the outside with Connell. Of course, Starks knows it too. Starks is giving away the inside. Connell with the fake move to the corner and then back into the middle. Starks timed it pretty doggone well, though, in getting there and getting his right arm and right around in front of Connell.
Chris Hefner has to be a bit nervous. His first field goal try as a Redskin, the third Washington kicker, and we're only in the 7th game. It's up, and it is good. Hefner from the University of Montana scores on his first leg swing, and the Redskins have the first points of the game. Released earlier this week, and this man Hefner won the job against Doug Pelfrey and Chris Jackie and Jeff Hall. And his kickoff, that was a weakness earlier for him at Seattle, but not so far today. And out breaks Corey Harris, and Harris to the 39-yard line. And the Ravens answer. Champ Bailey, he's everywhere, makes the tackle. 41-yard return for Corey Harris. And with that, a break.
The Redskins, last year the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, where he was 8-8. Prior to that, a 4-year run in Philadelphia. One of the really good defensive minds in this game.
Flag down as Banks with a free play, incomplete in the flat to Jamal Lewis. It appeared Dana Stubblefield was offside for Washington. Ravens now midpoint.
Offsides. Number 94, defense. The 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
They have not scored a touchdown in 9 quarters in the half of this one. Bonnie?
Well, Dick, Dan was just talking about Ray Rhodes, and Norv Turner said when he found out he was going to hire a new defensive coordinator, Ray Rhodes is his only choice, not just because of his 19 years of playing experience, but because of his constant interaction with players. He talked about how key that was.
First down and 5. Banks to the sidelines, and a nice catch, and out of bounds goes the rookie Travis Taylor from Florida. He entered the game with 20 catches.
You know, Dick, Bonnie makes a really good point there. Ray Rhodes with that rough exterior, and he just looks like he's always on the verge of biting your head off, and it's tough to get Ray to smile, but yet when you talk to the players, they love the guy. He's a player's coach. He explains things in detail. He puts his players in a position to make big plays. And I just, I'm hard-pressed to find a guy with more respect around this league as a defensive coordinator than Ray Rhodes. With Marvin Lewis over on the other sideline, we got a pair of winners in this game.
You saw the shot of Bruce Smith as they measured for the first down. Smith said that he knew Ray Rhodes was going to be the defensive coordinator, and that was an influence in him coming here to Washington.
Well, it was all kind of a package deal. Bruce knew that Dion and Ray were coming, and Mark Carrier was coming. They all were told that if you guys come, it's going to be quite a nice little package that we can tie up and put under the proverbial tree.
For $100 million, a nice little package.
A lot of sparkles on that tree. A lot of Pro Bowls. And certainly a couple of guys are going to end up on the steps in Canton, Ohio.
Well, how about yesterday, sitting down in the room talking with the Redskins, in the same seat with us, first Bruce Smith, and after Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders came in. After Deion Sanders came Darrell Green. Now here, 3 men undoubtedly will be in the Hall of Fame someday, and within a half hour, we had the pleasure of being able to hear their stories.
Well, the Ravens need to get it going with their passing game. You saw that graphic. 9 yards, that's not going to win diddly.
2nd and 1.
And I don't mean both.
Handoff inside goes to Femi Ayabadejo.
No, wait a minute.
I got to take another run.
Obafemi Ayambadejo.
There you go. Ayambadejo. Wow, that's a mouthful. His brother played at UCLA. He went to San Diego State. Brother was a fine linebacker. He's become the top receiver in this Ravens offense, and down goes another. Edwin Mulatalo, the left guard.
Well, they've already been scrambling on this line for the Ravens.
And he'll be attended Bruce Smith, and the big pileup falling on the back of his legs.
That's Orlando Bobo, who takes his place at left guard.
Jermaine Lewis in the backfield, and they swing it out to Lewis, incomplete. So 2nd down and 10. This is the Ravens' deepest penetration to the Washington 48.
Let's go back and take a look at Mulatalo. See Bruce Smith, number 78. There's Mulatalo, 64. And as Bruce Smith comes in to make the tackle, he rolls right up the back of Mulatalo's legs and falls on both of them. And that's just great hustle by Bruce Smith, but Edwin Mulatalo in the wrong place. And as I mentioned, this is already a banged-up offensive line for Baltimore, a trait both of these teams have working against them. Hurt offensive linemen.
2nd and 10. Priest Holmes to tail that with Taylor in motion. Holmes struggles to the 45 and just inside the Skins' 45-yard line, and Dan Wilkinson, Big Daddy, wraps him up.
Well, Tony Banks so far, Dick, if we were to talk about his effectiveness, it's almost nil. We saw in the previous play Jermaine Lewis just swinging out of the backfield, and Tony puts the ball down at his feet, a completely uncatchable ball. He's 4 of 10 in this game, only 18 yards. I know Brian Billick wants him to be conservative, but it's got to be better than this.
3rd and a short 7. The sideline, and open on the far side is Lewis, and he's out of bounds with a 1st down.
Well, that's the way the big boys play catch. Jermaine Lewis, take a look at him right here, and this is he really sells, right? Look how he sells the go to David Terrell. Well, he undressed David Terrell out there on the corner,
and then showed his toe tap on the sidelines to stay in bounds.
I have seen fish mounted on the wall that weren't hooked as badly as David Terrell was on that pattern.
1st down, Baltimore trailing 3-0. They're at the Redskins 34. Jamal Lewis to the 29-yard line, and from deep in the secondary flies a flag, and usually that's not good news for the offense. Holding, and often by the tight end. That's the responsibility of that back judge.
Holding. Number 87. Offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Kadri Ismail is the culprit for Baltimore, and it takes it back to the 44-yard line.
Brian Billick knows it's tough enough to go against this Redskins team without mistakes. Right there. Oh, well, that's a full lasso and tackle by Ismail as he just grabs Sean Barber and throws him out of the way. Boy, right out in the middle where everybody could see it.
So 1st and 20 for Tony Banks. Steps up and hit as he throws. Incomplete.
Another flag now comes down at the 22-yard line.
Kennard Lang, the defensive end, able to put pressure on Banks as he delivered the ball, and now the penalty goes against the Redskins.
Yeah, we're going to have defensive holding, and the kicker here is long yardage for a 1st down. This will be an automatic 1st down.
Holding. Number 56. Defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Forget the 5 yards. It would have been 2nd and 20, but the penalty on LeVar Arrington gives them an automatic new set of downs.
At the 39-yard line, and those are the ones that, as a head coach, Norv Turner, just so hard to digest.
But rookies will make mistakes.
And LeVar, he is a good one.
Yes, he is. 2nd pick of the draft, learning every day.
Well, 1st down, Baltimore, trailing by 3 here, 4:48 left in the 1st half. Gives to Lewis. Lewis comes back, breaks the tackle. He's to the 33-yard line. Good 1st down run. Sam Shade makes the tackle. Get live updates, folks, for each NFL game as it happens. You just click on live scores at cbs.sportsline.com.
And Jonathan Ogden is limping really badly. Just watching him try to walk back to the huddle for the Ravens. Look at him going up to the line of scrimmage with a noticeable limp. This is some gutsy performance by this Pro Bowler.
Lewis again on 2nd and 4, tripped up as he tries the right side. No gain.
Well, the play's going away from Ogden, so he's going to try to seal block, and that's going to involve cutting the guy across from him. And you can see that Nolan Harrison easily just gets right around Ogden, and right there Ogden's saying it's not that easy just to get up off the ground, and now he has to leave the game.
Big investment by Baltimore, $48 million long-term contract, the highest paid offensive lineman, and most agree if you're going to pay someone a lot of money, he's the guy.
Money well spent.
3rd down and 4. Banks fires to Taylor. Incomplete. Broken up by Dion.
Well, Dion knows exactly where Travis Taylor's going to make the break because he's just trying to run a 5-yard pattern to pick up the 1st down. But that ball should have been caught. I don't think that was anything special that Deion Sanders did. That's just a drop by the rookie.
And so Matt Stover, who has been the offense as far as scoring the last 2 games, tries a 51-yard field goal. It's up, and he's got plenty of foot into it. It is good, and Stover has been brilliant. He's 19 for 21 this year, leads all scores in the NFL, and he is the scoring man for the Ravens.
And this score doesn't surprise any of us one bit. Tough touchdowns are going to be tough to come by in this game. And this 51 yards, Dick?
Yes, it is.
You tell me what you think. My guess is this is good from at least 55. He drills this ball. This ball was well into the screen. That might have been good from 56 or 57.
His longest of the season, and very nearly his longest ever. He did kick one 9 years ago, 55 yards. He has scored Baltimore's last 33 points.
And we saw a big play before by Rob Burnett, the defensive end. Rob Burnett and Matt Stover are the answer to a trivia question. Who on this Baltimore team used to be a Cleveland Brown? And I don't mean recently. They're the only 2 guys that were members of the Cleveland Browns when Art Modell moved the team here to Baltimore.
And the kickoff is short. And to get it is Thrash. Mr. Everything for the Redskins, and he's across the 30 to the 33-yard line. And next Saturday, a reminder, big college football doubleheader. Notre Dame takes on West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Syracuse. Then Alabama challenges Tennessee. All begins this Saturday.
In his hometown against the Hall of Famer Bruce Smith, he wanted to go.
3 minutes remaining in the half. Tied at 3. Johnson underneath. And complete to Stephen Davis. Ball for the ball, and it's recovered by Chris McAllister of Baltimore at the Skins' 43-yard line.
Well, I'm sure right now the Redskins want to take a look at this and see if he was down. On the field, it's ruled a fumble, and Baltimore gets possession. Coming in just a little soft, sitting there. Clearly he has catch, he has the possession. Oh, I can't see from that angle. Let's look here. Boy, that's hard to see from that. That's really tough to tell exactly where the body of Stephen Davis was when the ball came out.
Credit Jamie Sharper with trying to rip it away, or the plus 15 in the turnover table, by far the best in the NFL.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The ball is loose on the way to the ground before he hits the ground. Therefore, it is a fumble. Washington is charged with a timeout.
The Redskins now have but 1 timeout left in the half.
I don't think Norv Turner had any choice but to challenge it. He didn't get to see this many replays before he had to pull the trigger and decide to call it. But after about 5 looks, which is how many it took us, it became apparent that it truly was a fumble. And as Dick mentioned, coming into this, Baltimore was plus 14. That is a defense that's putting a lot of loose footballs rolling around on the
goals, and you have a great defense, you can be 5-1. So from the 43, the first turnover, just under 3 minutes left in the half. Banks going to run it to the 40, and
it's just hard for me to imagine the Ravens winning this game without scoring a touchdown. If they do it 3 weeks in a row, maybe touchdowns are overrated.
Yeah, tell that to Brian Billick.
Tony Banks, that was just effective use of seeing an open side of the field. Tony's not known as a great scrambler. Tony would much prefer to stay in the pocket and throw the football. Tough guy. And guess what? Talking about tough guys. No surprise, Ogden still at left tackle.
11 yards on the run by Banks. It's first down. And Jamal Lewis trying to find something on that left side, and all he could get were 3-4 Redskins, no gain. As it ticks down to the 2-minute warning. In a 3-all tie. Bragging rights on the Beltway. Ravens with a chance for the lead. 2 minutes to go in the half. After the fumble recovery, in field goal position.
Edwin Mulatalo back in at left guard, and Jonathan Ogden hanging in at left tackle.
Oh, the playing wounded for the Ravens and the Redskins as Banks on second down screens it, complete to Lewis. Lewis at the 30, to the 25, and he shot through 2 tacklers to the 22, close to a first down. And LeVar Arrington slow getting up for Washington. These two teams separated by only about 50 miles. These two cities, Baltimore and Washington, and the fans of each city eager to crow the coming week about a possible win. Tony Banks and the Ravens at the 22. Look at third down and inches. They have Gash at the blocking back in front of Jamal Lewis.
Well, you know that Brian Billick, the gambler, would like to go for the end zone.
They're only 1 of 6 on third downs today. Lewis has a hole, and it's an easy first down as he slams to the 18-yard line.
Well, it must be hard for Brian to do that on third and one. And then his eyes just light up when he talks about the fact. I'm not kidding. He said, I truly mean it. I would pass every down. Can you imagine if he was the coach of the St. Louis Rams? Marshall Faulk might not take a handoff the rest of the year.
I think Mike Martz might tend to agree with him.
Well, we saw a little bit of that a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Not a running play till the second quarter. So first down for the Ravens. Final minute and a half. And Lewis breaking free of tacklers and finally down at the 11. Bruce Smith following the play, able to make the stop. And Jamal Lewis starting to get his running legs. And the clock stopped with 58 seconds left in a 3-3 tie before halftime.
Jamal Lewis showing great feet. Looks to be an exciting rookie.
Yeah, they're 0 for 13 in the red zone away from home. Here they are again. Second and short. Lewis in the backfield. He'll lose a yard as Mark Carrier, the safety, came in along with Sean Barber to get early contact. Coming up again, NASDAQ.com halftime report. All the scores and highlights, the NFL news, right after the end of the first half here from FedEx Field. Veteran owner Art Modell, great fan, very knowledgeable about his team in this game. Looks on, watches his team try to break this 3-3 tie in the final minute, first half. The throw toward the end zone and open, incomplete. Jermaine Lewis was open. There's the flag, however, and apparently it'll be interference against Matt Stevens. That'll give Baltimore the ball at the 1-yard line. Yes, that'll be the case. Stevens in the game because Darrell Green was injured, as you'll recall, in the first quarter. He normally would be in there.
Pass interference. Number 23, defense. This penalty is in the end zone. The ball is placed on the 1-yard line. First down.
Well, it's just man coverage all the way with Matt Stevens. And let's take a look at this high and above. And the ruling is Matt Stevens not playing the football, goes right into Jermaine Lewis, and there's no doubt he clubs him with his right arm and right hand well before the football gets there.
Banks
and ran toward the Baltimore bench in a frenzy, screaming and yelling and throwing his helmet. What a horrendous mistake by Tony Banks. Oh, first and goal, you still have 2 timeouts. All the time in the world. You don't take any chances with the football, much less throwing like that right into the hands of Mitchell. Unbelievable. Oh, Dick, that defies description.
And that's the end of the first half, and what a low point for Brian Billick and the Ravens to be a yard away from the lead and to give it up on the interception in the end zone.
There's right decisions and wrong ones. Stay with us after the break for a look inside the game.
Picks it off, and it's Thrash, who was the man for Washington the first half. Both pass catching and returns, and he makes another good return to the 30, to the 40, and finally spun out of bounds at the 42-yard line by Cornell Brown.
Well, James Thrash is going to get a lead block. And you see the start to the left, but right there out in front of him. And take a look at that hit by Morrell as he kind of sacrifices his body to allow Thrash to get around the corner. Adrian Morrell, you know, he took it as much as he gave it, but that was the one that was able to spring Thrash. Then he picks up another one on the corner. And finally, Washington gets some good field position.
On first down, Stephen Davis out to the 45-yard line. Bonnie?
Well, guys, you touched on exactly what Norv Turner wanted to talk about after halftime, the running game, or more appropriately, lack thereof. He says we're trying to run one guy. We've got mental errors. We've got penalties. We have to get Stephen Davis running the ball effectively. If they can do that, they'll try to spell him a little bit and get skip picks in the game. Guys?
All right, Bonnie, 4 yards for Davis on his first carry of this second half, after just 2 yards in 5 attempts in the opening half. He breaks a tackle here, and he's into Baltimore territory to the 48-yard line and near a first down before Ray Lewis and Dwayne Starks can make the tackle.
Well, Kim Herring, the strong safety, came up and had a pretty good shot at Stephen Davis and just didn't get it done. Herring didn't have to fight through a block or anything. Stephen Davis will veer off to the right, and right here from the right there, that was Herring that came up and really misjudged the angle in which to approach Stephen Davis.
They're on a measure for the first down at the 48-yard line.
This Baltimore defense, Dick, is so good that with a couple of successful runs here, it looks like they're going to have to put a thumb in the dike here. They're so stout, it's just hard to get anything done against this group.
And there is Mr. Stout, Tony Siragusa, the Goose. It's a third down and inches at the 48-yard line.
And they're still having to do this without Sam Adams. Lionel Dalton, number 91, has taken the place of Sam Adams, who left this game in the very early stages with a bad groin. Marvin Lewis, their defensive coordinator, he's the architect of this piece of work, and it's a Rembrandt.
Third and inches, and it's Davis. He has the first down as he plows to the 46-yard line. Now 3 carries by Davis that net a total of 12 yards to open this second half. And that's already more rushing yards than they had the entire first half.
And the Baltimore defensive players, when you visit with them, they complement this Redskin running game on how effective they are blocking in terms of they put a helmet on everybody who's in a position to make a tackle. It's a well-coordinated. Talk to Ray Lewis. Talk to Peter Boulware. They'll tell you that it's maybe the most coordinated running game they see as far as the effectiveness and the tightness of their blocking.
Play action Johnson, and then a throwback complete to the tight end Stephen Alexander, and he's to the 40 and spun out at the 35, first down. Rod Woodson finally knocked him off the sidelines.
Oh, what a couple of successful runs will do for you. The play action fake, the roll to the right by Johnson, and again he gets everybody on Baltimore defense to that side of the field. Dalton's not able to come up. He gets a good block out front by Jansen. This was that's a well-designed, well-executed play. But again, it starts with the fact that Davis is getting a little something done running the ball.
Not quite a first down at that. It's 2nd and inches, and Davis now to the 35-yard line. And that should be enough for the first down. Michael McCrary and others in on the stop. Saragusa as well. Stephen Davis, the workhorse, and it's been a busy week already for Davis from Auburn. His wife presented him with their 4th child 2 days ago, Stephanie, after Daddy Stephen, born 7 pounds 13 ounces on Friday.
North Turner kidded Stephen on Saturday, "You'll do anything to get out of practice."
One whole day off, right? Johnson play action, the quick throw, and complete the thrash, tackled at the 31-yard line. And a reminder, coming up next on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the superstars of the Ladies Tour will be doing battle for top prize money at the Samsung World Championship. After 3 rounds, Julie Inkster with a 4-shot lead over Annika Sorenstam. So stay tuned for top women's golf right after our football coverage.
Sam Adams back in the ball game. Sam Adams, who's playing with an injured groin, he's checked back into the lineup.
2nd and 4 for Johnson and the Redskins. This has been a good drive. Pump, look, flag, throw to the end zone, no one there.
I think they're going to get Chris Samuels, the left tackle, going against Michael McCrary. And Michael McCrary, who has maybe the biggest motor in the NFL. A lot of horsepower working on that guy. He's not the most gifted athlete at defensive end, Dick, but my Lord, his spark plugs are red hot.
Holding. Number 60. Offense.